So we have been chanting Brahma Samhita. Let me share my screen here. Okay. And so yesterday we chanted from the first 10 verses. So today we'll start from the 11th verse to 20th verse. Would anybody like to sing?
I can sing, Prabhu. I can try.
Sure, please go ahead.
आनन्द चिन्मय रस प्रतिभाविताभिस्ताभिर्य एव निजरूपतया कलाभिः गोलोक एव निवसति अखिलात्मभूतो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि प्रेमाञ्जनाचुरितभक्तिविलोचनेन सन्ता सदैव हृदयेषु विलोकयन्ति यं श्यामसुन्दरमचिन्त्य गुणस्वरूपं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि रामादिमूर्तिसुकलानियमेन तिष्ठन् नानावतारमकरोद भुवनेषु किन्तु कृष्णा स्वयं सम्भवात् परमापुमान्यो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो कोटिष्वशेषवसुधादिविभूतिभिन्नं तद्ब्रह्मनिष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि माया हि यस्य जगदण्डष्टानि सूते त्रैगुण्यतद्विषयवेदवितायमाना सत्त्वालम्बिपरसत्त्वं विशुद्धसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मयरसत्मत्यमनस्सु य प्राणिनां प्रतिफलं स्मरतमुपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयाति जश्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोलोकनाम्नि निजधाम्नि तले च तस्य देवी महेश हरिधामसुतेषु तेषु ते प्रभावनिचया विहिताश्च येन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते स गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि क्षीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते न हि तथा पृथगस्ति हेतु ये सम्भूतम् अपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि दीपार्चरेव हि दशानतरम् अभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवृतहेतुसमानधर्मा यस्तादृगेव हि विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Thank you so much, Anandani, for chanting it so nicely.
Sorry, I made mistakes. Just try. We are missing Madhanad Putra.
Beautiful voice, yes. Would anybody like to read the translations?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Madhu.
I worship Govinda, the primeval lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities in the company of her confidantes, Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primeval lord, who is Sham Sundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love. I worship Govinda, the primeval lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the form of Rama, Narsimha, Vamna, etc., as his subjective portions. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is the absolute substantiative principle, being the ultimate entity in the form of the support of all existence, whose external potency embodies the threefold mundane qualities with sattva, rajasa, and tamasa, and diffuses the Vedic knowledge regarding the mundane world. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his own pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. Lowest of all is located Devi Dhama, mundane world. Next above is the Mahesha Dhama, abode of Mahesha. Above Mahesha Dhama is placed Hari Dhama, abode of Hari. And above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. The external potency Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda in accordance with those with whose will Durga conducts herself. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, viz. Milk, so I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Sambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. The light of one candle being communicated to other candles, although it burns separately in them, is the same in its quality. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who exhibits himself equally in the same mobile manner in his various manifestations. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Such powerful prayers by Lord Brahma towards the Lord. These verses are quoted so many times by Srila Prabhupada in so many places, especially the verse number 12 that we should probably all try to remember. Premanjana Churati Bhakti Vilochanena. And also the verse 19 and 20 are quite often quoted by Srila Prabhupada in explaining the position of Lord Shiva and also of other jivas in relation to the Lord. So thank you so much for wonderful reading. We will continue reading from Leelamrit. We were in chapter 52 and we were going to start from July 10th. I would put the link also in the chat here if anybody would like to follow on their devices. Is there somebody who would like to read today? If not, I can read. So we saw that Srila Prabhupada had assigned 11 of his senior disciples to give initiations and carry out activities on his behalf So that's where we are starting from. July 10th, Tamal Krishna received a phone call from Gopal Krishna. The Mayapur temple had been attacked by a gang of 300 dacoits or hoodlums. 5 devotees were wounded and in the hospital. Bhavananda Goswami had fired a shotgun at the attackers, injuring 2. The police, who didn't arrive until 2 hours after being called, had arrested Bhavananda and put him in jail. Srila Prabhupada became disturbed. If the dacoits attacked and we used our shotgun, he said, what is wrong? Later that day, Prabhupada heard the Hindustan Times version of the attack. According to the news report, some cows had wandered into the ISKCON property and the devotees had beaten the cows. This had angered the villagers, who, on coming to the temple to complain, had been shot at. 2 had been injured. The article named Bhavananda Goswami and at the end mentioned that the founder of the temple, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, had not been present. Srila Prabhupada heard the article, made a few comments, and went on with his afternoon writing and translating as usual. But late that afternoon, he called for Tamal Krishna. Quote, I'm afraid of a big conspiracy, unquote, he said. The last line of the article says that the founder Acharya was not present. They were sorry. They would have arrested me and put me in jail. Tamal Krishna scoffed at the news article and was one-sided. That doesn't sound right, he said. That the devotees beat the cows? Devotees don't beat cows. Within a few days, a letter came from Gopal Krishna giving the facts of the Mayapur incidents. About 50 Muslim men were stealing crops from the ISKCON land. When Nitai Chandra tried to stop them, they attacked him, cutting his head in 3 places. Later, while he was being treated in the temple infirmary, the men came and beat Nitai Chandra and stripped one of the ladies naked. Meanwhile, another 250 men attacked, breaking the gates, cutting phone and electric wires, and destroying the water pumps. Wanting to scare the mob, Bhavananda had fired a shot in the air. But when they did not disperse, he fired another shot, injuring 2 men. In the meantime, the attackers had broken both hands of one of the Gurukula teachers and beaten many other devotees. 2 hours later, the police arrived and recommended the devotees to go to Krishna Nagar police station, 20 miles away, to file a complaint. When the devotees had reached the station, they had been arrested, and 2 seriously injured devotees were denied medical treatment. Bhavananda Goswami was still in jail. Prabhupada said it was a plot to drive away the Hare Krishna men. They want that all Bengal be completely godless, he said. When Tamal Krishna suggested that this incident would hurt their village preaching, Prabhupada replied, no, it will be to our favor very soon. I think the central government will take action. This is the same as Kamsa against Krishna. Krishna must win. No one can defeat Krishna. If I had been there, they would have charged that I ordered the shooting and arrested me. Now I am an old man. I cannot take an active stand. So you all must do everything carefully. Prabhupada continued to think and comment on the incident. The Gunda class does not like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said. They say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made people emasculated. In Orissa, they say that after Maharaj Prataparudra met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lost his Kshatriya strength. He was a very powerful king. But after he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became effeminate, hoodlum for Gunda. What is our reply to that? Asked Tamal Krishna. What can you reply? Said Srila Prabhupada. If they conclude something like that, they have no idea of spiritual life. They say this is disruptive. Lord Chaitanya is saying, na dhanam na janam. We don't want such things. And they want them. So how can you reply to such people? Everyone wants this, and we say that we don't want it. How can you make a compromise with such people? In your country also they say, what's wrong with illicit sex? What's wrong with intoxication? They say we are brainwashing. Is it not? It is very difficult to push on this movement. Still we are doing. That is Krishna's grace. Seeing that Srila Prabhupada was disturbed, Tamal Krishna suggested, will you try to translate this afternoon, Srila Prabhupada? But Prabhupada continued to the same point. A young beautiful woman comes at the dead of the night to see Haridas Thakur, to offer her body, and he denied. Who will appreciate this? We appreciate, said Tamal Krishna. You appreciate, said Srila Prabhupada. But in the modern world, who will appreciate? Prabhupada continued pointing out the irrevocable split between the devotees and the non-devotees. Their idea is that a young man cannot live without a young woman, and yet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, oh, you are after a young woman? That's more dangerous than drinking poison. As Prabhupada spoke of the Mayapur devotees who had been willing to sacrifice their lives for Krishna, he became choked with emotion and began to cry. Krishna will give them protection, he said. Our Mayapur men? He mentioned how Haridas Thakur had also been put into jail and beaten, and how Prahlad Maharaj had been tortured until Lord Narsimha had appeared. Don't be worried, said Srila Prabhupada, crying and speaking as if all his Mayapur devotees were directly in front of him. Krishna will protect you. We are doing our best as far as our intelligence goes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted that in every nook and corner of the world, this movement should be pushed. We are limited. In an attempt to ease Prabhupada's sorrow, Tamal Krishna started reading the latest report from Ghanshyama, who was distributing books in Eastern Europe. The report of extraordinary success drew Prabhupada's attention away from Mayapur. He smiled and said, that is dynamic. Tamal Krishna continued reading the report. Everywhere we go, people either know about you or they are very eager to find out about Krishna and yourself by reading your books. Anyone who has distributed your books in the communist countries will support my claim that nowhere in the world are people more appreciative of your books. Tamal Krishna looked up from the letter and commented, he has been everywhere, Prabhupada, and he says that your books are more appreciated in the communist countries than anywhere in the world. Yes, said Srila Prabhupada, they are hungry. A few days later, a full on-the-scene report came in the mail from Jai Pataka Swami in Mayapur. The local Hindus of Mayapur were outraged at what had happened and were mobilizing mass petitions in support of the ISKCON temple. Although the newspaper reports were false, gradually the people were learning the facts. Jai Pataka reported vivid details of Bhavananda and other devotees being marched through Navadvipa in chains on their way to the court, and people of Navadvipa offering them respects. The devotees were still in jail, he said, constantly chanting Hare Krishna. On the whole, the report was optimistic. Prasadam distribution was continuing in Mayapur, book distribution in West Bengal was increasing, and the preaching parties were well received wherever they went. Srila Prabhupada's prediction was coming true. The incident was turning in the devotees' favor. He commented that the enemies had thought that they were digging up a garden snake by attacking Krishna's devotees, but they were finding that they had in fact unearthed a cobra. July was a good month for Srila Prabhupada's work on Srimad Bhagavatam. He continued dictating very early in the morning and in the afternoon, completing chapter 8 and 9 of the 10th canto. It was his great pleasure to do so. Working on Srimad Bhagavatam, he was completely transcendental to his physical condition. Despite the accompanying heart palpitations and despite his faint voice and general weakness, even to sit was difficult, and yet he began working. Nothing could stop him. Speaking into the hand microphone of his dictating machine, oblivious to his bodily condition, Prabhupada described patiently and methodically how Nanda Maharaj's family priest, Gargamuni, performed the name-giving ceremony for baby Krishna. In his purport, Srila Prabhupada often spoke from his personal experiences and realizations. This is the mission of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and devotees also have the same mission. One who executes this mission of Para-Upkara, performing welfare activities for people in general, is recognized by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as being very, very dear to him. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priya kritatmanaha. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised this Para-Upkara, and he has specially instructed the inhabitants of India. On the whole, the duty of a pure Vaishnava devotee is to act for the welfare of others. Sometimes sitting in the pre-dawn open air on the second floor veranda, and sometimes in the humid heat of bright afternoon, Srila Prabhupada worked, describing the limitless Vedic knowledge, just as his predecessor, the Goswamis, and Krishnadas Kaviraj had done when worshipping Krishna and Lord Chaitanya while living in Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada, however, was the first Acharya to make Krishna conscious literature available to persons of all countries throughout the world, regardless of birth status or previous character. Even as he composed the latest chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, thousands of young men and women were working on his behalf to preach the Vedic message to the world. His disciples were, in fact, keenly aware of how Srila Prabhupada was producing the 10th canto purports in Vrindavan, and they prayed to Lord Krishna that he be allowed to continue for many years so he could complete the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. In explaining the infant pastimes of Lord Krishna, Srila Prabhupada described an entirely transcendental mode of consciousness beyond material designations of babyhood or old age. As these pastimes of Krishna and the great enjoyment exhibited by the mothers are transcendental, nothing about them is material. They are described in Brahma Samhita as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. In the spiritual world, there is anxiety, there is crying, and there are other feelings similar to those of the material world. But because the reality of these feelings is in the transcendental world, of which this world is only an imitation, Mother Yashoda and Rohini enjoyed them transcendentally. Srila Prabhupada was now rendering a particularly sweet part of Krishna's pastime, and with relish he described Krishna stealing butter and feeding it to the monkeys, and his showing the universal form to Mother Yashoda. In describing how the vision of Krishna's universal form was beyond Mother Yashoda's comprehension, Srila Prabhupada shed light on all incomprehensible situations, including his own. She, Mother Yashoda, could do nothing but offer obeisance to the Lord. One should not try to understand the supreme cause by argument or reasoning. When we are beset by some problem for which we can find no reason, there is no alternative than to surrender to the Supreme Lord and offer Him our respectful obeisance. Then our position will be secure. This was the means adopted in this instance also by Mother Yashoda. Whatever happens, the original cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the immediate cause cannot be ascertained, let us simply offer our obeisance at the lotus feet of the Lord. Mother Yashoda concluded that the wonderful things she saw in the mouth of her child were due to him, although she could not clearly ascertain the cause. Srila Prabhupada made deep and joyful appreciations of the pure devotion of Mother Yashoda for baby Krishna, and he described her as the emblem of all pure devotees of the Lord, especially the residents of Vrindavana, who loved the Lord in spontaneous affection. The pure devotees who inhabit Vrindavan, he wrote, do not possess any bodily conception. Such pure devotees were fully dedicated to the service of the Lord in sublime affection, prema. This had been described by Lord Chaitanya, he said, as the highest perfection of life, pure love in relationship with Krishna. And Mother Yashoda, Srila Prabhupada wrote, appears to be the topmost of all the devotees to have attained this perfection. Srila Prabhupada was concerned that what he wrote be published and distributed. It was his service to his Guru Maharaj, and he received great satisfaction in hearing that book distribution was still expanding all over the world. Rishikesha Swami, the GBC of Northern and Eastern Europe, reported that he was printing a very large quantity of books in 13 languages. After hearing only the beginning of this report, Srila Prabhupada exclaimed, all the blessings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj on you. You are the most important grandson of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Go on doing like this. In a similar mood, Srila Prabhupada pushed his GBC secretary for India, Gopal Krishna, to produce Hindi books faster and in greater quantities. Whenever Gopal Krishna came to visit Srila Prabhupada without a new publication, Prabhupada would reprimand him for his slowness. Gopal Krishna therefore began a policy of visiting Prabhupada only when he had a new book to present. In mid-July, when Gopal Krishna brought a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, part 2 in Hindi, Srila Prabhupada accepted it happily and said, twice now, unless he brings some book, he won't come. Because every time I criticize him, where is the book? Where is the book? I think we can stop now. such beautiful reading and description of Srila Prabhupada's mind. Would anybody like to add and share some reflections from today's reading?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think my takeaway from this reading today was if you are suffering for no reason, then you just have to surrender to Krishna. And that is, try not to fight out the reason, but just surrender. So I think that was very beautiful instruction.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Surrender to the ultimate cause if we cannot figure out what is the immediate cause. Thank you, Anthony, for sharing that. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for reading with such delight, and it really it takes us very much close to Prabhupadaji, and also like how determined he was in Krishna's consciousness. He can figure out like for every reason, for everything that wrongdoing, he always had a good cause to explain that yes, not only surrendering but keep going on with your consciousness. And even at that age, at that situation where his health was not uh, great, and he was still like very much into getting the like this spread of the Krishna consciousness, and that is really really very heart touching. And yes, it was emotional on the things that had happened at that time. uh, we as a normal human being, we are still on the path of Krishna consciousness. We get easily uh, like affected by the things that happen in front of us. But Prabhupada ji, and with his own like heart, he kept going on, which is really, really something that every person should appreciate. And as a servant of the servants, I mean, we are always so delighted to hear about Prabhupada ji and such a wonderful reading and such a wonderful thoughts. So yes, uh, we should always surrender to the Krishnas and always keep going on for the bigger cause. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, it is really, really important for us to realize that how much pain and effort Srila Prabhupada has taken in translating these books, and how much physical discomfort he was from a bodily standpoint. But he worked tirelessly to translate his books. He was following his Guru Maharaj's instructions for the benefit of us. And one thing that he really took pleasure was in hearing how his books were getting distributed, not because he had translated it, because the knowledge that was given to him by his Guru Maharaj was being distributed. And he always gave credit to his Guru Maharaj. So I think we can all draw inspiration from Srila Prabhupada. This month of December is the month of book distribution. We should all try to distribute as many books as possible. And Vishwanath Prabhu has taken book distribution service in our congregation, and there are many other devotees like Aditya Narayan Prabhu and many devotees under him who are working. We can all go and distribute books, and as much books as we distribute, we are spreading the knowledge or message of Lord Krishna. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, whoever distributes this message is very dear to me. So I think we should all take a resolve to distribute as many books of Srila Prabhupada as possible. So thank you so much for sharing your heart, Ritesh Prabhu. Anybody else? Hari Bol. Madad Adbhut Prabhu ki jai. I hope you recover fast, Prabhu. Prayers from all of us to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So if no one else has anything to add, we can close the call by doing Vaishnav Pranam Mantra. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। इस्कॉन सिंसिनाटी भक्त वृंद की जय। His Grace Madan Adbut Prabhu की जय। हरे
Speedy
कृष्ण।
recovery, Madan
Hare
Adbut Prabhu.
Krishna, Hari Bol.
Krishna.
Hare
Take
Krishna.
care, Madan Adbut Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Get well soon, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, we all are praying for your speedy recovery. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.